Everyone out there, welcome to my first Instagram Live, a mental health break recording. I recently reconnected with Tanya, and she is one of my original episodes right there in the beginning. And now here we are a few years later. I thought it was important to reach back out to her, hear what she's doing, and of course let everyone viewing on and listening on know what she's got going on. So Tanya, thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you. I know it was really exciting to reconnect with you and hear what you're up to. Lots of great things. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you. Everyone, if this is your first time experiencing a mental health break, this is the podcast that normalizes the conversation around mental health. After recovering from a traumatic brain injury, I learned to prioritize my mental health, and I want to help you do the same. Tanya, if everybody missed your first episode, before we get into all the new happenings in your business, let's start with who you are and what you do.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Tanya Lesnick, and I have been psychotherapist and personal development coach for almost 30 years now. And I started doing this work when I had an experience in my own life. I tried therapy for the very first time and was encouraged to go into a group therapy situation as well. And it was the combination of being with sort of a trusted person that could guide me through the process and other people on their own personal growth journeys that changed my life completely. And I was a graphic designer at the time, and I decided to go back to school, become a therapist, and have been doing this work ever since, wanting to help other people have transformational experiences of their own. I still have, in my heart, group is a very powerful, very, I think, just fulfilling way of doing some of this work, because connecting with other people at that deep level and a human level is, I think, the best way to create lasting change for yourself. So
I love that. You mentioned that you had a really tough time. You were going against some adversity in life, but you decided not to let it define you. You were going to make the most out of it. Transfer your whole life around graphic design to this professional practice. When you were down and out, Tanya, what are some things you did for your mental health to help get back on top, help get ready to thrive again, and of course, look at all the great work that's happened since?
Yeah. So very specifically, at that time in my life, I was really longing to have a long-term love relationship. And I was struggling, and I wasn't able to sustain a relationship for some reason. And I was trying to understand what was in the way for me. In that process, started to explain to myself, before getting involved in therapy, what the reasons might be, and decided that maybe I was not very lovable. And so that mindset was a really hard thing for me to be trying to navigate through at that time in my life, deciding that maybe that story was a true part of how I was showing up in the world. And it got me into this very big curating stage in my life where I think, okay, how do I need to show up? And it was really interfering with me being able to be genuine and present and embodied and all those things. When we really trust ourselves and can live fully, that there is some flow with that. And I was not experiencing that. So the process of going to therapy and then group therapy helped me connect to myself, connect to other humans who I really admired, that I saw had some similar insecurities of their own, because we were all human. And it helped me really be able to start to trust just how I showed up. I didn't have to question it so much. I didn't have to curate it. So very early on, I actually did meet the man who became my husband. We just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary this past September. So that happened. But the part of the journey that I hadn't anticipated was connecting to myself, really learning how to trust my heart, to have intuition. What did that mean? To learn what needs were and start to honor myself in that way. And as much as I love the fact that I was able to meet somebody and sort of have this family that I had longed for, we have two amazing daughters, but to be able to actually love myself and to be able to connect to my heart and to follow my heart was huge. And that really inspired the change.
Some notes now because I'm not on the computer where I typically type up the notes as the show goes along. A lot of great points there. Following your heart, but loving yourself. And I think that's something that's often overlooked. We are in go, go, go mode always in life after COVID. And it's tough to remember to take care of ourselves. We're quick to give great advice to our friends, family members. This is something I'm guilty of as well. Not taking the time to be kinder to myself.
Yeah.
And as your fellow entrepreneur here, recovering perfectionism and entrepreneurship always, and just letting myself know it's okay. I can take a break. I try to just do the best I can. Tanya, we've talked about a lot of great stuff so far already, but I brought you back to share some of the new things you have going on in life. And there is a lot of good stuff here. Everyone get ready to get amazed because she's always up to something new. She keeps going, and she just mentioned she's found that self-fulfillment piece of life. And that's something that I think in entrepreneurship, at least for me as well, helps keep me moving forward. So please indulge us. Let us know what's going on. But before we get to that, I'd love to hear a quick word from our show sponsor, Tampa Counseling and Wellness, and you could find all of their information in the show description.
Are you constantly exhausted and overwhelmed? Do you struggle with your confidence or self-esteem? Are you ready to live a life with more passion, courage, and excitement? At Tampa Counseling and Wellness, we want to be there for you every step of the way. While we understand that change may be difficult, we have a proven track record of helping our clients live a more joyous and meaningful life. Whether you are looking to overcome some current life challenges or you are looking to do some deeper healing, we are here to help you. Our compassionate approach to therapy is rooted in building your confidence and insight while helping you gain mastery of your life. If you would like to learn more about our services or you would like to schedule a free consultation with one of our clinicians, please visit us at www.tampacounselingandwellness.com or simply call or text us at 813-520-2807. We look forward to growing with you, Tampa Counseling and Wellness, where it is okay to not be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. In this process of my own, this most recent part of my business that I've been growing, guesting on podcasts, and then starting to do my own Instagram lives and putting things out there in the world, helped me to really connect to, okay, what is my message? What is it that I want to share with people? And it was in my own process of actually starting to go through some organization stuff in my own home and clearing out my spice cabinet and realizing, just like stuff is just all clogged in that space, I haven't looked at it for a really long time. We all have things that we hold on to in our psyches that are taking up space, taking our energy, and can really deplete us. So when we talk about connecting to your heart and that's sort of a way to live a most fulfilling life, if we're in patterns where we are believing some of the limiting beliefs that we've held on to from our childhoods, and if we're sort of engaging in behaviors that go along with those limiting beliefs, and I'll give you an example in a second, then we can really struggle to connect to our hearts because we're so full with all the other stuff that by the time we get back to ourselves, we're done. Yeah. We don't have the bandwidth. We're not able to really get to that place that allows us to connect with ourselves. So I've been calling it energetic clutter. And it really is all that stuff that takes our focus, our energy, our time even. And so another example from my own life is I have a history of a lot of people-pleasing behaviors. And when I wasn't recognizing that and catching myself and starting to adjust those behaviors, they were running the show. And I would find myself putting other people before me, saying yes to accommodate somebody else's schedule, or putting time in towards what somebody else wanted from me without checking in with myself to see what I want and need. That's an example of a limiting belief. I mean, people pleasing is connected to a belief like, if I'm not accommodating, if I'm not nice, if I don't say yes to everybody, then I'm not going to be able to stay loved. People will abandon me. People will leave me. So that's an example of a limiting belief. We all bring them from our childhood. Sometimes adulthood, we might have an intense experience that brings on some new limiting beliefs. And they're always paired with behavior that is put in place to keep us safe. And so that's one. It's a very common one. Yeah.
Everything you said there, amazing. Limiting beliefs, I think everybody is guilty of it to some way, and I've certainly been guilty of letting those limiting beliefs get in the way. People pleasing, of course, I try to be kind, and then there's a point where you realize kindness may be getting taken advantage of, right? You're taking time for other people again and again, but is it reciprocated, A, and B, is it reciprocated to yourself? Like we keep talking about making time for ourselves. Maybe it may help to be intentional with the self-love time. Maybe putting in a calendar notification, 2 o'clock today, watching my favorite show, or I'm taking a walk in my favorite park. You name it, making time for self-love, self-care. I love that. The energetic clutter. I can't wait for everyone to read about that in the catchwords in this week's show. Tanya, I love everything you're up to. I'm glad we got to reconnect. Is there anything else you'd like to share to our audience today relating to mental health?
Yeah, I think just to say that we all have our own nuanced versions of limiting beliefs. So if you can stay curious and really check in with yourself to learn more about what are your sort of patterns that are maybe in the way for you, that. And to also just be kind to yourself. This is not an easy process. It takes we challenge ourselves when we go through some of these changes that we would like to make. It brings up some fear, and it can feel really hard, and we can struggle through it. And so just to be kind to yourself in the process.
I love that. Change is never easy, and that's what deters most people from embracing the change and pushing forward in themselves. And I know, especially again in entrepreneurship, it's constant. You have to keep constantly adopting and do things that are uncomfortable. And then once you do things once, and today was a busy day as we record. I had 2 events this morning, and the one thing I talked about was embracing that change, and how in entrepreneurship it can seem so scary because you're doing something new again when everything is already new in entrepreneurship. And even this today, doing this Instagram live for the first time, it's something like, geez, am I going to be okay? Am I change? I said, I'm not going to change, whatever. I think, Tanya, you gave me a great episode for my first episode back. Everyone, in the show description will be her first show. Be sure to scroll down there, hear the first time she came on. Please share now, website, social media, anything we can do online to find you.
Yeah. Probably the best way, well, certainly this is connecting, I think, to my own Instagram, which is Tanya the Therapist, all one word. And from there, actually, I have a link tree in there, and you can connect to my website from there. So that's probably the easiest, although some people might be listening. I have an easier handle for my website, which is Clear Energetic Clutter. So if somebody just happens to be listening to this later and they're just trying to remember what it is, that would be another way to find me. And I have some goodies on there, and really would love to connect to anybody.
I love that. Everyone, be sure to scroll down in the show description, get her links. And Tanya, it's great to see you again, and we'll have to do a great job of keeping in touch from here on out, try to help each other grow.
Yeah, sounds great, Vincent. Thank you so much, and really an honor to be your first Instagram Live.
Yes,
I love that.